The most qualified person for your dream job might be you, 10 years from now. The problem is, your brain is actively hiding that job from you today. This is a filtering mechanism inside your head, one that deletes opportunities from your reality before you ever perceive them. We're going to find the master switch for that filter and show you exactly how to recalibrate it. Because the feeling of being stuck is often the hum of a filter working perfectly, keeping you safe inside a life that's 2 sizes too small. The technical term for this filter is self-concept congruence. It's a quiet background process your brain runs to protect your sense of identity. Its only job is to make sure your world matches who you believe you are. If you see yourself as a junior manager, your brain gets very good at spotting junior manager jobs, junior manager salaries, and junior manager problems. It flags them in the world as relevant. It highlights them in yellow. But a $10 million business opportunity, your brain files that under irrelevant noise and deletes it. That opportunity is for someone else. For the type of person who runs $10 million businesses, and your brain, in its effort to be efficient, will ensure you almost never have to be bothered by information that contradicts who you think you are. It's an act of cognitive self-preservation. Imagine trying to process every single piece of data in your environment, every conversation, every sign, every passing face. You couldn't function. So the brain develops shortcuts. Heuristics. The most powerful one is identity. Is this relevant to me? Is the first question it asks of everything, and the definition of me is the bottleneck. You have built a search engine for reality, and your self-concept is the only thing you've put in the search bar. The results are coming back exactly as requested. But here is the mechanism that nobody explains. This filtering process feels completely neutral. It feels like you're just seeing the world as it is. It feels like objective reality. But you're seeing a version of reality that has been edited specifically for you, by you, with your own blind spots written into the code. The problem is, the programmer has amnesia. You forgot you wrote it. And so you treat the edited version as the full story. So, how deep does this go? Does it just filter job ads? Or is it rewriting your entire world? Researchers at the University of Waterloo ran a series of experiments on people with low self-esteem. They gave participants a choice: interact with a person who had praised them or interact with a person who had criticized them. The results were chilling. Overwhelmingly, people with a negative self-concept chose to spend time with the person who thought poorly of them. They actively sought out the feedback that confirmed their identity. They chose the critic. The brain preferred the pain of criticism over the discomfort of praise because the praise was a contradiction. It was an error message. It didn't fit the model. So they sought out the data that did. They were literally filtering for relationships that would keep them in a state they claimed to dislike. This drive for consistency is called self-verification theory. It's the mind's immune system for identity. When a piece of information enters your awareness that violates your self-concept, a huge compliment, a surprising job offer, a sudden success, your brain treats it like a foreign body. It creates a feeling of unease, discomfort. You might hear a voice inside that says, "This is a fluke," or "They don't know the real me," or "This won't last." That's the immune response kicking in. It's trying to neutralize the threat and restore equilibrium. The equilibrium just happens to be your current state. Your brain would rather be consistently right about being mediocre than face the uncertainty of being exceptionally talented. Consistency is safety, even if the consistency is a prison cell. And the most dangerous part, this process is so effective, you will eventually convince yourself that you chose the cell, that you like the cell, that the cell is in fact all there is. But what if you could change the cell itself? What if you could change the programming? This brings us to a strange, almost counterintuitive principle. Your self-concept is built almost entirely on evidence. Specifically, evidence from your own past actions. You believe you're a procrastinator because you have a mountain of evidence of times you've procrastinated. You believe you're shy because you have a thick file of memories where you acted shy. The identity is just a summary of the data. This is where it gets interesting. Your brain is a historian, but a lazy one. It prioritizes recent data over old data. It cares more about what you did yesterday than what you did 10 years ago. This is called the recency bias, and it's the master key. Each new action you take is a piece of evidence. A vote. Each time you go to the gym, you cast a vote for "I am a person who works out." Each time you speak up in a meeting, you cast a vote for "I am a person with valuable ideas." One vote changes nothing, but the tally is what matters. The identity of a healthy person is a downstream consequence of 1,000 small, unsexy votes. A vote to take the stairs, a vote to drink water, a vote to go to bed on time. None of these actions requires a surge of motivation or a personality transplant. They just require the action itself. They are deposits in an identity account. You are literally building a body of evidence for a new self-concept to latch onto. At first, the new actions feel fake. They feel inauthentic. That's your brain's immune system again, telling you that this new evidence contradicts the old identity. It's supposed to feel uncomfortable. The discomfort is a sign of the filter being recalibrated. Most people mistake this feeling for a sign of failure. They think, "This isn't me," and they stop. They abandon the new evidence and retreat to the comfort of the old identity. The key is to understand that the feeling of fakeness is the friction of change. It's a feature, not a bug. This process of evidence gathering explains a phenomenon that stumps many people. Why affirmations alone often fail. Standing in the mirror and saying, "I am wealthy," when your bank account is empty, creates a massive conflict for your brain. It looks at the evidence, the bank statements, the overdue bills, and it looks at your statement. The affirmation is a single unsupported claim, so the brain rejects it. It feels like a lie because based on the current data, it is. But what if you took a different approach? What if you cast a small undeniable vote? You open a savings account. You put $1 in it. You read one page of a book about finance. These are tiny actions, insignificant on their own, but they are pieces of evidence. They are verifiable. Your brain can't argue with them. You are now factually a person who has a savings account and studies finance. The evidence is small, but it's real. And your brain, the lazy historian, starts to log it. It has to. This is the central engine of change. You act your way into a new way of thinking. The behavior comes first. The identity follows. You don't think your way into a new way of acting. You can't simply decide to be a confident person. You place yourself, repeatedly, in situations that require confident behavior, even if it's just making eye contact for 1 second longer than you're comfortable with. That is a vote. That is evidence. That is a deposit. The self-concept is a lagging indicator of your recent behavior. It's like the wake of a boat. The boat is your actions. The wake is your identity. To change the wake, you must turn the boat. You can't yell at the wake. You can't command it to change. You have to steer. And the steering wheel is your behavior right now in this moment. Every action is a turn of the wheel. Consider the placebo effect. We think of it as a trick of the mind, but the mechanism is pure self-concept filtering. In a famous 1990 study by Baylor School of Medicine, a surgeon named Bruce Moseley performed sham knee surgery on a group of patients with osteoarthritis. He made the incisions, rustled the tools, talked like he was performing the surgery, and then simply sewed them back up without doing anything. The other groups received the standard, real surgeries. The results were stunning. The placebo group reported the same level of pain relief and improved mobility as the people who had their knees scraped and flushed for real. Their brains had received a powerful new piece of evidence. A respected surgeon operated on my knee to fix it. This evidence was so strong it created a new identity. I am a person with a functioning knee. Once that identity was established, the brain's filter recalibrated. It started filtering for sensations of relief and filtering out sensations of pain. The new self-concept literally changed their physical experience of reality. They got better because they believed they were the kind of person who gets better. This explains why two people can go through the exact same event and have wildly different outcomes. One person gets laid off and sees it as confirmation that they're a failure. Their filter hunts for evidence to support this. The recruiter who never called back, the bills piling up, their self-concept is unemployed victim. The other person gets laid off and sees it as an opportunity. Their filter immediately starts scanning for new possibilities, the side business they could start, the new skill they could learn, the freedom from a job they hated. Their self-concept is resilient problem solver. The event was identical. The filter was different. And that difference in filtering will compound over years, leading them to entirely separate realities. One is a reality of scarcity and failure. The other is a reality of opportunity and growth. And both people will be convinced that their reality is the objective truth. They will both have the evidence to prove it. Let's ground this in a practical experiment. Take a moment and think about someone you admire. A colleague, a historical figure, an entrepreneur, someone who operates at a level you aspire to. Now, for the next 24 hours, just ask one question before any small decision. What would that person do? What would they eat for breakfast? How would they answer this email? Would they scroll on their phone right now? Or would they read a book? You are borrowing their filter. You're running a simulation. The goal is to see how differently the world looks through that lens. You'll start to notice opportunities and choices that were previously invisible because they were irrelevant to your old self-concept. The simple act of asking the question forces your brain to search for a new set of data. It bypasses your own filter and temporarily installs a new one. This is a training exercise. It teaches your brain what it feels like to look for different evidence, to cast different votes. The criticism often leveled at this idea is that it feels dishonest, that you're just faking it. And the critics are correct. You are. But they miss the point. Faking it is the mechanism. It's how you generate the initial data for a new identity before you actually believe in it. The Wright brothers' first plane was a fake bird. It was a flimsy assembly of wood and cloth that barely worked. But it was evidence. It was a vote for the identity of people who can fly. They kept casting votes, making better fakes, until one day the fake became real. The identity shifted from tinkerer who dreams of flying to aviator. The faking was the work. The initial awkwardness is the price of admission for a new reality. The people who are unwilling to pay that price are the ones who remain stuck, polishing the bars of a cage they don't realize they built. They are waiting for permission to change. They are waiting for a feeling of authenticity that only comes after the work is done. The most subtle and dangerous aspect of this filtering mechanism is how it shapes your memory. Psychologist Daniel Kahneman's work shows that we have two selves: the experiencing self, which lives in the moment, and the remembering self, which tells the story of our lives. The remembering self is the one that builds our identity, and it is a ruthless editor. It doesn't remember every moment. It remembers peaks, ends, and stories that fit the existing narrative. If your self-concept is, "I am an unlucky person," your remembering self will disproportionately recall the times you missed the bus, lost your keys, or had a project fail. It will conveniently delete the memories of the times you caught a lucky break or things went your way. It's building a case file to support the identity. Your past is being selectively curated to justify your present limitations. You think you are a product of your past. The truth is, your past is a product of you. So the final piece of the puzzle is this. The filter works both ways. It determines what you see in the future, and it determines what you retrieve from the past. It's a closed loop. Your past actions built your current self-concept. Your current self-concept filters your present perception. Your present perception dictates your future actions, and those future actions will become your past evidence. This loop can be a cage, or it can be a launch pad. The only place to intervene is right now. In the present action, that is the only point of leverage you have in the entire system. One small deliberate vote that contradicts the old story. One piece of new evidence. The loop doesn't break, it just gets pointed in a new direction. You have been looking at the world through a keyhole. You thought it was a window. You've gotten very good at describing the details of the room you can see, the color of the rug, the style of the chair. But there is a whole house you have never seen. Your self-concept is the keyhole, and every new action that challenges it doesn't just change you. It widens the aperture, just a little. Until one day, you look up and realize you're no longer looking through a keyhole. You're standing in a doorway. And this same mechanism of self-verification explains why entire organizations get stuck repeating the same mistakes for decades. It's a different kind of invisible filter, but the code is exactly the same.